The road to professional sports is filled with challenges. When you throw in managing diabetes while competing at the highest possible levels, you have some of sports' most amazing and inspiring heroes. So today, we present DLife's all-sports, all-star team with the help of one of the NBA's most tenacious rebounders.
Today in the DLife kitchen, we go tailgating with the fun food you can enjoy while prepping for the big game.
And we catch up with 8-time LPGA Tour champion Michelle McGann, who is showing the world that diabetes is no handicap when it comes to playing professional golf.
Welcome to DLife, your source for a healthy diabetes life. Well, today we have a first on DLife. We've profiled scores of athletes over the years and have now assembled the DLife Sports All-Star Team, celebrating the best on and off the field that live the diabetes life. We begin with legendary Chicago Cubs third baseman Ron Santo, who belted 342 home runs.
I'd already signed a professional contract, and then I went to my doctor, found out I was a diabetic.
Okay.
And first thing I asked him was, can I play baseball? He says, I have no idea. So I made my mind up then that I was going to play.
There are many major leaguers to mention. Pitchers Brandon Morrow and Mark Lowe, and Chicago Cubs outfielder Sam Fuld. Hall of Fame pitcher Catfish Hunter got diabetes at the end of his career, and Bill Gullickson pitched in the major leagues for 14 years. In 1969, Bobby Clark was one of the world's best young hockey players, but NHL scouts had trepidations about his diabetes. The Philadelphia Flyers ignored the rumors that he would not be strong enough for the rigors of pro hockey, and he led them to the Stanley Cup in 1974 and 75. Clark's emergence gave hope to a young Chris Dudley, who grew up to be a 16-year veteran of the National Basketball Association and was the only NBA player to compete with diabetes during his career.
The fact that he could play Hall of Fame hockey at his level, as tough as he was, when an MVP, was just so inspirational to me.
Gary Hall has been celebrated for his breathtaking victories in swimming.
Now I have 10 Olympic medals, and the majority of them were won with diabetes.
In the rough and tumble world of the NFL, current Chicago Bear Pro Bowl quarterback Jay Cutler stunned sports fans in 2008 with his diagnosis of diabetes.
The first thing the doctors told me was, you're going to be able to continue to play football, you're going to continue to do everything that you want to do.
He got diagnosed at a later age. It was already in the NFL when he was diagnosed, and has handled it in a great manner. Jay Lundberg, All-American football player at Colorado, went on to play for the Colts, the Redskins, other teams, NFL great, and just did not let diabetes stop him.
Kendall Simmons, current Buffalo Bills and former Pittsburgh Steelers lineman, is another NFL powerhouse with diabetes.
When you're an athlete, you don't want people to see your vulnerable side. But when you're diabetic, you're going to have those times.
On the men's and women's professional golf tours, Scott Verplank and Michelle McGann have been leaders on the board and in their support of the diabetes cause.
You just keep fighting, and you keep trying to pass the word that anything's possible.
No all-star team would be complete without the inclusion of two champions, 9-time Grand Slam winner Bill Talbot and late Wimbledon champ and tennis legend Arthur Ashe. The Arthur Ashe Institute for Urban Health continues to spearhead diabetes education in America's inner cities.
Adam Morrison, great basketball player, led the nation in scoring at Gonzaga, type 1, got diagnosed early. I was the first in the NBA with diabetes. He's the second. I knew he would do a great job of taking care of his diabetes.
But the toughest all-star is a man of iron.
Bill Carlson, who is the athlete's athlete, was running Ironman triathlons with diabetes, which in 1983 was absolutely amazing.
The last member of our team is not just an all-star. Doug Burns is all-universe.
He got diagnosed, was the scrawny kid on the beach who get sand kicked in his face, took it as a personal challenge that he wanted to get bigger and stronger, and not only to get bigger and stronger, he became the biggest and the strongest and became Mr. Universe. I think as time goes on, the world of sports will have more and more people with diabetes. Diabetes treatment has come a long way since Ron Santo was playing without a test kit, since the days of Bobby Clark. We haven't gotten a cure yet, which we all want, but the technology to help us deal with our regimen of diabetes has gotten better and better, and I think it's just going to continue to do so.
Our special thanks to Chris Dudley, who's been an all-star with building the Chris Dudley Foundation and teaching children how to live a healthy diabetes life. Stay tuned to see how professional golfer Michelle McGann stays on par with diabetes. Welcome back to DLife. I'm Benno Schmidt. Like most professional golfers, Michelle McGann tees off to get the lowest score on the fairways. But McGann also looks to get close to the pin for children with diabetes through her self-titled fun. We recently caught up with her appropriately after 18 holes.
I remember the first time I made a birdie and was so excited. It was gratifying because it was instant success.
Michelle started playing golf at just 7 years old, so being diagnosed with juvenile diabetes at 13 was overwhelming for the young athlete.
That's when I sat and thought, oh my gosh, what is going on as my life ended? What is diabetes? Because I didn't know anybody that had it. I didn't even know what it was.
Immediately, Michelle was put on insulin, but soon after, she went on an experimental drug program that enabled her to go off insulin for 5 years until she was 18. Through it all, Michelle continued to play golf.
I played golf all the time, so there was a good distraction there for me.
Golf was the answer for Michelle. In high school, she garnered 3 Florida Junior Championships. She was named top junior player in the nation and could have gone to any college in the country. But when she qualified for the U.S. Open, she knew it was time to go pro.
Here I went, onto the LPGA Tour. So from then on, it was kind of, I just climbed the ladder and finally won in 1995.
By 1997, Michelle had captured 7 LPGA titles, establishing herself as a formidable force in the sport. But playing golf at the highest level with diabetes has been both physically and mentally demanding.
The mental side being that it's constantly in the back of your mind, something that you constantly think about. As hard as you try, it's in the subconscious. You have it. Oh, am I hitting bad shots because my sugar's low? It happens. The physical side is being the weakness. You know, you get to that point where you're like, why are my arms so limp? Why are my legs? They're giving out on me. I'm not getting through the ball. The physical side of being aggressive and, you know, feeling like I can take on the world to, oh, wait a second, that was a little slow.
After 21 years of playing the sport she loves, Michelle is looking to inspire and motivate others, especially kids like her that are living with diabetes.
There's been disappointments, but there's been enjoyment in knowing that I have been successful and hoping that I can be a great role model for a lot of people to know that you can reach the highest level of success. And there's been times that I've been at the lowest level and that you just keep fighting and take it day by day.
Up next, we're off to the DLife kitchen with Chef Michelle Nishan, but first, we leave you with a question from viewer Stuart B. from Findlay, Ohio. He asks, sometimes I have low blood sugar in the wee hours of the morning. How can I prevent this? One DLife viewer writes in with a common problem, Dr. Emily Sine, and that is waking up with low blood sugars. What are some good tips to avoid that?
Well, you know, the first thing you always want to do is you want to test before you go to bed. Sometimes eating a high-protein snack before sleeping can help. You know, a lot of people exercise late in the day. You might want to avoid that if you're finding that your sugars are low at night, not exercising before bedtime. Also, discussing medication changes with your healthcare provider. Sometimes, Benno, it's as simple as changing the timing of when you take certain medications, talking to your doctor, and always testing is going to be the key to getting rid of this problem.
So even if it's the middle of the night, don't be reluctant. Go ahead, get up, and get the blood sugar meter out and test.
Absolutely. The more information you have, the better. You can take that with you to your doctor and figure it out.
So test, don't guess.
Test, don't guess. That's
okay,
right.
Dr. Emily Sine, thank you. And remember, you can go to DLife.com/answers to submit your questions to our experts. And now it's time to head to the DLife kitchen.
Hi, I'm Chef Michelle Nishan. Welcome to the DLife kitchen. What we're making today is based on an authentic dish from Southeast Asia. Satay, very simply marinated meat, grilled on skewers and served with various dipping sauces or seasonings, almost always nice and spicy. Now, the most popular is probably spicy peanut sauce, and that's what we're going to make today. Now, what I love to do is start with beef round because it's inexpensive, and when you can, what I would like you to do is spend a little more money and get grass-fed beef. So what I'm doing is taking this round, which is great because it's pretty much ready to go right from the grocery store, cutting it into strips just like this. And now I'm going to take a good old Ziploc bag and we're going to pop the meat into the bag and then take a little bit of minced ginger. We got some garlic and either some homemade beef stock, which is what I prefer, or you can use low sodium beef broth. There are a lot of really great natural and organic products that you can get in the grocery store. And then some low sodium soy sauce. Put it in the Ziploc bag. Now, you don't want to let this go any more than 2 hours. Now we're going to come over and pop this in the fridge. And here we have some meat that's already been marinated. And here you can see that it's just getting a little bit off pink. This is perfect. This is ready to go. Now I have some nice bamboo skewers here, and basically what I did with the skewers is I soaked them overnight in water. You want to soak them overnight in water because if you don't do that, they're going to burn under the broiler. And here I think I have some that are pre-done. And now we're going to pop this under a hot broiler and really just 5 to 7 minutes, turning them once, and they should be delicious. There we go. Now, spicy peanut sauce really couldn't be any easier. We have peanut butter, which is awesome. Now, nuts and nut butter long have been known to be beneficial for people with a variety of health conditions, including diabetes. It's got good fats, really great plant nutrients, lots of fiber, really good stuff. Now, you can see this is nice and runny, and it just smells wonderful. We have a little bit of fresh lime juice, some great honey, and I love to use local honey. And then we have a little bit of Asian chili paste, which is dynamite, very delicious. So chili paste has capsaicin, really great source of vitamin C, and nice and caliente, spicy, picante, very delicious. Some red pepper flake, and now some fresh chopped cilantro. Remember that marinade in the bag? What I did was put it in a pot and brought it to a simmer on the stove to pasteurize it and also to make it warm. So I have a little bit of the marinade in here. Now, all of these ingredients have the compounds and phytochemicals that are really great for helping fight and prevent a variety of disease, and they just happen to be delicious as well. Now, I have a feeling that these skewers are perfectly cooked. Yeah, look at that. This smells amazing. Now, you want to be a little careful because the skewers can be a little bit hot fresh out of the broiler like this. A little bit of this fresh cilantro right over the top. And there you have it. Now you can find this recipe and thousands more at DLife.com/recipe box. After giving this recipe a little bit of spin, take it for a test drive, come back to the website, give it a review for us. My name is Michel Nishan, and thanks for joining us today in the DLife Kitchen.
There have, of course, been some baseball greats with diabetes, but never two at the same position on the same team. It seems only natural that pitchers Brandon Morrow and Mark Lowe would spend a lot of time together. They're about the same age. They came through the Seattle Mariners organization at about the same time and are both promising young pitchers.
Brandon Morrow, Mark Lowe, 1, 2, 3, okay.
And even though Morrow was traded in December to the Toronto Blue Jays, he and Lowe will always share another inextricable bond, diabetes. Coming out of the University of California, Berkeley, as one of the nation's top prospects in '06, Morrow was a known commodity, a live fastball, and great stuff. He was the Mariners' first pick in that year's draft, number 5 overall.
And a swing and a miss.
But in addition to battling batters, he's been battling diabetes since the age of 18.
You know, I had all the symptoms. I was waking up in the middle of the night 4, 5, 6 times, going in the bathroom, drinking bottles of water, wake up just dehydrated, eyes dark, sunken. I mean, I remember going and watching some basketball games in high school, and I could barely see the scoreboard. It was so blurry. I didn't know what was going on, had no idea. And one of the guys mentioned, hey man, you know, that kind of sounds like diabetes, you should go get it checked out. So I did, and the blood sugar was 715. So, I mean, we knew right away.
Mark Lowe was a standout at the University of Texas Arlington before being picked by the Mariners in the 5th round of the 04 Major League Baseball draft.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Mark Lowe strikes him out.
In 2008, a routine test showed that Lowe had high glucose levels, and doctors diagnosed him with type 2 diabetes, which they then sought to control by managing his diet.
You know, I mean, you get all your energy from carbs, and I was told not to eat any carbs and just eat proteins, and just had no energy, you know, to come out and play every day and work out. It just wasn't working out for me. It was really hard.
It was hard and wrong. Doctors reversed their diagnosis to type 1 after Mark didn't respond to treatment and prescribed the use of insulin to control his blood sugars. Naturally, he leaned on his then teammate.
You know, Brandon was a huge help for me, you know, when I was diagnosed with type 1, and really helped me along throughout the whole way. Things I do now, it was things that, you know, that he taught me.
I mean, I think it makes it a lot easier when you have, you know, someone else there that's been through it. You know, then you can just focus on controlling the disease and knowing that it's not going to affect you out on the field if everything's right. You know, we talk about how different foods affect me and how different foods affect him, and, you know, when we check and how we make those adjustments.
They check their sugar levels several times during the day. They do it in front of their teammates when they're eating in there in the room, and they're all sitting there looking at them. They do their shots. You know, and a lot of the players it's actually been kind of good. A lot of the players have gotten an education as to what diabetes is all about.
After several years of using injections, Murrow decided to switch to an insulin pump, which he takes off only when he pitches.
In college, I tried to pitch with it on, but, you know, just having it snake through my uniform, it would kind of pull on my jersey a little bit, having the cord through there, and it was just uncomfortable. And, you know, it's easy enough to connect it and make a adjustment if you need to.
Mark Lowe still uses insulin injections.
When I eat my pre-game meal, I'll usually give myself 1 extra unit than I should, just to make sure that I'm counting the carbs right. In case I don't, I would rather be low than high because it's an easy fix. You know, when it's fast, just drink a Gatorade or eat a couple jelly beans.
I'll warm up to, you know, start the game, and I'll be walking out and he'll yell over the fence to me.
He'd go out down the ramp coming into the game after warming up, and I'd yell for his name, and he'd turn around and go, "Diabetes."
You know, and yeah.
We do stupid stuff all the time.
Last season, the Mariners hosted a Diabetes Day, which the team and the players hope will bring more awareness to diabetes.
There's all kinds of stories about lives that were touched from an early age, you know, and it lasts forever, so.
When we come back from PCP to CDE, Dr. Emily Sine joins me to make sense of medical alphabet soup. But first, DLife viewer Shauna M. from Klaus, New Mexico asks, is it better for my diabetes to try and choose low-fat versions of foods? One viewer writes in wanting to know if it's better for their diabetes to try and choose low-fat versions of all the foods they eat. Joining us now, as always, with answers, Dr. Emily Sine.
Thanks, Benno. Well, not necessarily do you want to go low-fat. You always want to check the label carefully for the carbohydrate count. That's what really matters to get an idea of how the food's going to affect your blood sugar. Reduced fat products like milk, ice cream, and cookies can contain more grams of carbs than the regular full-fat fare, so you want to check it out. Be very careful. The take-home message here is balance, and with high-fat foods, consider sometimes moderating your intake rather than looking for the low-fat version.
So always read the labels, and it sounds like this is also about the carbs.
It's about the carbs, as always, and also looking for unprocessed foods. Sometimes that can answer your question about whether you should be eating it or not.
Thanks, Emily. Now it's time for our debrief segment. Today we're dealing with medical alphabet soup. The many titles describing medical professionals like CDE, RD, and FACE can be very confusing. What do all those qualifications mean? So let's start with the doctor, or the team leader, so to speak. If you have diabetes, what kind of credentials should you be looking for in a doctor? Dr. Emily Sine joins us now with answers.
Thanks, Benno. Well, an endocrinologist is a medical doctor, or MD, who specializes in diabetes care and other diseases of the endocrine system. The initials FACE, following a doctor's name, indicates that he or she is a fellow of the American College of Endocrinology. Now, the letters BCADM mean that a doctor is board certified in advanced clinical diabetes management and has had additional training as a specialist in that area. Now, some people get their care from a PCP, or primary care provider. Your primary care provider is usually an MD or a DO, that's a doctor of osteopathy, a nurse practitioner, NP, or a physician's assistant, PA.
And Emily, what about outside the doctor's office? Who can teach all those crucial life skills you need to manage your diabetes, like eating right and learning, of course, how to test properly?
Absolutely. Though doctors may be trained in diabetes patient care, nurses and diabetes educators make up an invaluable part of any diabetes management team. A CDE, or certified diabetes educator, is someone who has special training and experience in counseling people on all aspects of their diabetes care. Diabetes educators are most often nurses, dietitians, pharmacists, and mental health care professionals. A good diabetes team may also include an RD, a registered dietitian who is a food and nutrition expert.
And Emily, are there other specialists who should be part of this large team?
Absolutely. You know, diabetes impacts almost every part of the body, so it's really important that you have the right professionals helping you practice good preventive care and treating complications appropriately when they arise. For example, a foot doctor or a podiatrist, that's a DPM, a doctor of podiatric medicine, an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist, essential to any diabetes care team, a pharmacist, RPH, and many more. So for more on health professional titles and building your healthcare team, you want to log on to DLife.com/care team.
Emily,
Benno?
thank you so much. That's it for this edition of DLife. Thanks for watching. And remember, we do want to hear from you. Visit us at DLife.com/feedback to share your comments and, of course, story ideas.